Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Lockerbie, and today I'd like to talk about the social issue of mass murder and how that relates to the event planning industry. So there wasn't one universal definition of mass murder. I took this definition from varying different definitions on the websites that I have on my reference page. 4 or more people murdered during an event is what we'll use for the purpose of this presentation. So a lot of people like to say that, or like to argue, about is the problem the people behind the guns or is the problem the gun itself? Well, I don't want my presentation to be over that issue. I don't want to take a stand in that. So today let's focus on the issue that people are dying. That is the issue of mass murder. I included this chart here because I thought it was pretty interesting to see the changing attitudes of the ages of 18 to 29-year-olds over the years, over different events that have happened. We have the Virginia Tech shooting in 2007, the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012, and the Orlando shooting in 2016. As you can see there, after these shootings, it either goes up or down depending on if you want gun control ownership or if people wanted to protect their gun rights. These are just some quick facts of 2019. In 2019, as I'm sure most of you already know, it was a record high for mass murders. The Gun Violence Archive states that in 2019 there were 31 mass murders and 418 mass shootings in the United States. 418 mass shootings, that's more than 365 days, which is what we have in a year. And I feel like that's where the issue comes into play, when there are more killings than there are days in the year. So this chart I included because it shows how not only over time does the mass shootings increase, but also the amount of people who are killed increases, and it's ever rising. Okay, so how does event planning actually, where does that fit in with this subject? Different things you think about in different aspects of event planning are space, materials, and security. So for space, you think about, okay, where's my location going to be for an event? If it's inside, are there exits? How many exits? Where are those exits? If it's outside, I'll use the Las Vegas, the 2017 Las Vegas shooting as an example. It was an outside venue event, and it was basically like they were sitting in a bowl as targets. That's the big problem with location in event planning, is that these areas are targeted from that kind of terrorism, or for that kind of terrorism. So let's talk about the materials. Materials is mainly the security needed for, or it relates to the security needed for these events. Things such as metal detectors are gonna have to be used during these events that we're now planning for the future. It's gonna be an expense that we, as event planners, take into account. So security is the last thing. Obviously, we're gonna have to double up on that as well. I feel like event planners now have to think outside of the box, not only with, okay, where's my event gonna be, but also how do I secure this event and how do I make sure that people can enjoy the event without having to worry about being harmed. So this slide shows mass murders at specific events. So we have in 2017 a Las Vegas concert. In 2017 we also had the Sutherland Springs Church, and then in 2016 we had the Orlando club shooting. All 3 different types of events all had, were targeted for the amounts of people that they had going towards those events. Okay, so I've listed a few things that you can do to address the issue. First, we're going to take action, so get involved with government. I know you've heard it said before, but I'm gonna say it again anyways. Go out and vote. You can also write a letter to Congress, find out who your Congress members are, send them a letter, take a stand on what you're wanting to say, and let them know how you feel about that situation. Educate yourself and others. This is the most important part. Learn the facts. You can give your opinions, but also back it up with those facts. Whenever you're sharing that information, it's super important that we all understand where you're coming from. Speaking of sharing the information, we have social media. Use it as an advantage to share those facts that you just learned. The last thing is going to be join a prevention group. I listed these 3 just because they were ones that I kind of looked into. You don't have to go look at those. Just find one that you connect with and feel passionate about, and maybe volunteer with them and go out and take a stand with them. Okay, so to wrap it all up, I just want to point out that mass murder is rising every year. It is a social issue, not only within the US, but with the entire world. Event planning in its relation, event planning is a massive target, unfortunately. So we as event planners need to be aware of that situation when we're making those decisions. And lastly, just go out and do something about it. Write to those Congress people, write to the local newspaper. Just take a stand and make sure that your voice is being heard. So if you have any questions or comments, just let me know. I'd love to share any ideas or facts that I learned about this issue with you guys. Thanks again, guys, for taking the time out to watch my presentation. And here are those references.